Mr. Josh here again, and welcome to video number 2 of Listening and Understanding. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to stop this video and click on the link down below, which will take you to my website, where you'll be able to download a question sheet, and there'll be a link there also to a YouTube video. Watch the video as many times as you like, answer the questions, and then come back to this video, where in a minute we'll be doing the answers, and you can check how wrong or right you were. So here we are again on a wet, cold, miserable day in northern Spain. You might also hear some music occasionally because underneath me there's a dance school, and yeah, they like to play music stupid loud and it comes through the floor, so maybe you'll hear music. Not to mention the church bells, the rain, the wind, screaming children. If anyone's got like a spare bed anywhere in Asia with really good Wi-Fi, send me a message. I could be interested. We could come to some kind of arrangement. In fact, I don't even need the bed. Just someone that's got like a patch of ground that I can sleep on with good Wi-Fi. Contact me. Seriously, I could be interested. Anyhow, moving on. So, this video is with Casey Neistat, who maybe you know, maybe you don't, international YouTube vlogger. Had at one time the fastest growing YouTube channel going, and he's also credited with being the person who gave birth to the whole vlogging idea. If you've ever seen people walking around with a gorilla pod and a camera, he basically started that. He invented that whole setup. If you don't know him, you should check out his channel because he's had quite an interesting life. He went from literally nothing, as in living in a trailer park with a small child and cleaning pots for a living, to just recently selling a company he owned for about $20-something million to CNN. So I don't begrudge him his success because he's worked damn hard for it. So in this video he introduces us to a guy who had a bit of a life-changing moment some years back, and instead of basically curling up into a ball and deciding that the world hated him, this guy went and said, okay, this has happened, I'm going to make the most of it. And that's pretty much what this video is about. And yeah, you should check him out as well because he's a super interesting guy. So, I have my tablet, so let's get into this. A shark bit his hand off. Question 1. In the opening scene we hear Casey Neistat ask Dan how many pull-ups he can do. How many does Dan claim he can do? Well, you can see like a look of panic on the guy's face, and he says 4, so yeah, he's about to get his arse whipped really quite badly. Dan, by the way, if you're listening to it and thinking he's got a strange accent, he's from South Africa. And just to forewarn you, he is the subject of next week's video. So you're going to get a lot of South African next week. Question 2. Dan watches Erin do more pull-ups than he can do. What does Dan say to Casey? This makes me laugh, because I think this is also being me. So basically he says, let's not do this, let's delete the whole entire scene, because he just knows he's about to get his arse whipped really quite comprehensively on camera, and it's not going to do his macho machismo any favours at all. But hey ho, that's life, innit? Question 3. Outside in the park, Casey tells us that Dan wants to get fit. So what will Dan be doing this morning? Well, Dan is going to join Casey for his morning run. And this is a funny thing about Casey. He does if you check out his channel, you'll see there's a video, well, there's quite a lot of videos about how he works, his working life. He sleeps something like 5 hours a night or something like that. Ridiculous amount. Gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and goes jogging for 2 hours. And then has another fitness regime in the gym. And the guy's a machine. I don't know how he does it. I get out of breath if I just run from here to the kitchen. If I go on any further than that, I start tasting blood. I mean, God. What's wrong with the man? Anyway, moving on. So, question 4. In his studio, Casey explains what it means to be a BAMF. What do the letters stand for? BAMF is a bad ass mother. Just download the answer sheet and look it up for yourself. But I think we all know what it is, okay? BAMF. I'd never actually heard of a BAMF before this. Heard of lots of other things, but not a BAMF. So, moving on, question 5. What organisation was Paul serving with when he had his life-changing event? So, when he had his life-changing event, Paul was serving with the Australian Navy. He was part of the elite dive team. So, someone who spends most of his life swimming around in dirty water. Now, some of the people who have seen this video, my students, have asked me, why is it serving and not working? Why is it you serve in the army but you don't work in the army? To which the answer is, I don't know. I have no idea, but it's just the way it is. I wish I could give you a proper answer for that, and probably someone could Google it and tell me what the answer is, but I personally don't know. But generally speaking, when you're in the armed forces, so Army, Navy, Air Force, whatever, you serve, you don't work. Question 6. What did Paul do in 1998 that surprises Casey? So in 98, Paul opened up for Snoop Dogg as a rapper. Like, am I the only one who's thinking about this and like, how do you get from elite Navy diver to rapper? I'm not seeing like a natural progression here, but hey, if that's what he does, that's what he does. Each to his own. Question 7. The video cuts to an interview of Paul on television where he says, "It was the epitome of a Sharky day." What were the conditions on that day that made it Sharky? Yeah, well, here we go. I'm going to have to read this because I just can't do it from memory. So, according to Paul, it was morning, Sydney Harbour, so the water was all murky. It was an overcast day and he was swimming on his back wearing a black wetsuit. Now, I have a question. As someone who hates the ocean, as far as I'm concerned, the ocean is big, blue and wet, and we don't belong there. If it is the epitome of a Sharky day, why would you get in the water? Just asking. It's a question I feel needs an answer, because I certainly wouldn't get into the water on what is the epitome of a Sharky day. So you might not have heard of the word epitome before, and the epitome is like saying the absolute perfection of something. Like I could say, I am the epitome of a well-bred, well-spoken English teacher. Stop laughing. It's not that funny. I'm telling you, stop laughing or I'm turning the video off. Bloody cheek. Show a little respect. I'm doing this for free. Laugh at me like that. Anyway, so yeah, the epitome of something is like the absolute perfection of it. The other word maybe you're not familiar with is murky. So murky water would be water that you can't see through. And that word also gets used to describe other things that are either hidden or not very clear. So like I could tell you I have a murky past, meaning I have a past that I want to keep hidden that no one knows about. I'll leave you to figure out if that's true or not. Question 8. What did the bull shark decide it wanted more than Paul? Basically, it wanted his right hand and leg. I'm told that sharks don't particularly find human flesh appetizing at all, and they don't really want to eat us. But the trouble is, when a shark has like a quick nibble to see if you taste good, it kind of has a lasting effect on that person. So, good reason, don't go in the water on a Sharky day. Question 9. Despite losing one hand and leg, Paul managed to swim back to the safety boat. What did one of the rescue guys have to do to stop the flow of blood? Basically, one of the rescue guys had to stick his hand inside his leg and pinch shut the artery. Now, I've done many disgusting, horrible things that a lot of you would think, "Ugh, I wouldn't do that." But the thought of what that guy did, no, I couldn't do that myself, personally. The idea of pinching, by the way, is like with two fingers, yeah? Like you can pinch skin, like that. And you'd also hear sometimes in a cooking book, sometimes read in a cooking book, let's get this correct. Spot the English teacher. Yeah, you sometimes read in a cooking book, it'll say something like a pinch of salt. And what that literally means is, you stick your fingers in the salt, just grab some between your fingers and drizzle it over. That is a pinch of something. But yes, pinching the artery in some guy's leg when it's falling to pieces around you. No, I couldn't. I don't know about you, but I couldn't. And all credit to the guys who did. Question 10. While Paul was trying to swim back to the rescue boat, did he think he was going to survive the attack? In short, no he didn't. He was pretty sure that the shark was going to come back, grab him by the leg, drag him under and finish the job. And as he said, the only thing he was thinking about was, well, until that happens, I'm going to try and get back to the boat. This guy has got a set of balls on him the size of an elephant. He really has, because if it had been me, I would have just said, yeah, okay, today's my day for dying, let it happen. So, but then I guess the survival instinct, you know, adrenaline and all that. You do what you do to stay alive. But no, I definitely couldn't do it. And this guy, you know, he's definitely something special. Question 11. How much did Paul's robotic hand cost? So his robotic hand cost $90,000. Now, if you're thinking it was 19, no it wasn't. It was 90. And he actually says it twice. He says it at 4 minutes and 41 seconds. And then he says it again at 4 minutes and 54 seconds. And if you listen carefully, it is 90,000. Which is a lot of money to pay for a robotic hand, even if it was made in Germany by scientists. And what about the leg? The leg, 200,000. Wah! Personally speaking, I would have said, you know what? I don't need the leg. Just give me the money and a crutch and I'll be happy. Have you any idea how much of a good time I could have in Bangkok with that money? You'd never see me again. Still, there you go, that's me. Shallow. Question 12. What is the best feature of the hand according to Paul? Well, the best feature of the hand according to Paul is that it goes from one grip to bigger grip at a touch of a button or something. I don't know how he does it. If you're going to have a robotic hand, I guess that is an important feature. Question 13. How did Paul manage to snap in half his previous robotic hand? Arm wrestling with a girl? What? Makes you wonder how big the girl was, really, doesn't it? Question 14. Paul says that if given the choice between losing a leg or losing a hand, he would always prefer to lose a leg. What reason does he give for this? So the answer he gives to this is quite sort of like long and rambly, but the long and short of it is this. You can replace a leg quite easily because a leg has quite limited functions, whereas your hand, that has a lot of functions. And to date, a Luke Skywalker hand, like the guy, you know, in Star Wars, that isn't doable yet. So this is why he says, if you're going to lose something, lose the leg, because it's less important and they can get you a good replacement. The hands, yeah, not so. So, 15. 3 months after his accident, Paul was back in the water. What reason does he give for this? I'm not going to tell you what my theory about this one is, but I'll just say what he said. And that is that he finds it relaxing, it's peaceful, he feels immersed in nature. Me personally, you would never see me again near anything even remotely wet. Question 16. Which famous actor has Paul met? Well, that would be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sorry, that was a really bad impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't do voices, I'm really bad at voices. So just, yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the original Terminator. And as Casey said to him, when you met him, did he agree that you're more like Terminator than he ever was? To which he's sort of like, no, he didn't. Question 17. Which of the following do we not see in the montage of clips following Paul's life since the accident? Bench pressing, wearing scuba gear, diving, doing yoga, running in the park, riding a boat, riding a chopper, shooting a gun. Well, it was the yoga one. He wasn't doing yoga. He did do a handstand against the wall, but that's not yoga. Question 18. Before his accident, Paul had two big fears. What were they? So his two big fears were sharks and public speaking. And as he now says, what does he do for a living? He makes shark videos for television and he does public speaking. Sometimes if you just face up to your fears, it's amazing what you can do. And for him, you know, one of the worst things that ever happened to him in his life was also, in a strange way, become one of the greatest things that's ever happened to him in his life. It's kind of strange how things sometimes turn out. Question 19. Who is Erin according to Casey? Well, according to Casey, Erin is Paul's GF, or girlfriend. Question 20. Which piece of technology does Paul say he struggles to use? So the piece of technology he struggles to use is a camera, or a DSLR if you're a techie sort of person. And when you watch him trying to use a camera, it amazes me that he can do that at all. Because I have a DSLR, it's actually what I'm filming this with, and I tried to hold the camera like him and work it, and I damn near dropped the thing on the floor. So how he's managed to adapt to doing it, I really don't know. But yeah, like I say, a very remarkable bloke. Question 21. Paul has a special arm for doing pull-ups, but what other use does it have for him? As he says, I use this when people mess with me. In other words, he uses it for punching people. Frankly speaking, I don't think he actually needs it. I mean, would you mess with him? I mean, come on, the guy survived a shark attack and he's still laughing and joking about it. Yeah, he's not someone you're going to mess with, really, is he? So, question 22. How many pull-ups did the 4 of them do combined? Well, this is just a simple one. I mean, it's on the screen. It's mathematics. It was 59.5, with Dan humiliating himself really quite nicely. You gotta laugh. Last question. As Paul leaves in a taxi, what does Dan say Paul is? Do we really need me to answer this for you? He says, one badass mother. So, having now watched the video, you've got to admit, this guy really is something incredible. I know I've made a few jokes about him along the way, but, you know, seriously, this guy, he is incredible. If that had been me, I would have just given up straight away. And even if I'd have made it to the hospital, I think I would have just said, you know what, just give me some pills and just leave me to it. Because I've seen what a nightmare a really bad injury can be for people long term. So, but that's a story for another day. So that was the second video. How was it for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn anything new? If nothing else, you got a new person to find on YouTube, Casey Neistat, international vlogger extraordinaire. Go have a look at him and see what he does. He does some really incredible things. And he's not like the traditional vloggers who just stand there saying, today I'm standing in front. No, he doesn't do that. He actually has stories. And if you want to learn about vlogging, he actually has a video. I think it's something like Casey Neistat's Guide to Vlogging, where he explains how to do stuff. So definitely go watch him. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this. Next week's video will be with Dan Mace, who is the South African that we see at the beginning. So brace yourself for that, because you're going to get a lot of South African accent. And I know from practical experience that a lot of people struggle with the South African accent, which I don't know why, because to me it's quite clear. It's South African and Australian I hear a lot of complaints about. People seem to struggle a lot with it, especially people from Asia. Don't know why, must be something in their language. So anyhow, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. You know, I'm sitting here doing this for nothing, you know. Is it really that hard just to go click subscribe and give it a like? And come back next Saturday, because as I said, there'll be another video for you to do. Anyways, I'm off to go and try and edit this. The last one from last week, that took me 3 hours to edit. I hope I can do this one a bit faster. Anyhow, ciao for now.